So I will talk about Kra audits because these are very huge topic for entrepreneurs, and because Kra has been really active on auditing our companies. They have been sending emails and so many other things. And we really want to understand the whole topic and what happens and how, as an entrepreneur, the whole process, how you should behave or what you should provide. So I'll talk about what triggers audit. And a company should be audited within 5 years. I've talked about that. That is an obligation. So if you're running a business and you've never been audited, know that one time they will come and they will audit you for 5 years. So it is very important for you to be able to, do your work very well. And to audit, to do your books very well and to keep them safe. So how do you win an audit? You win an audit through documentation, through books. So it is very important for you to have proper documentation with you. These are your books. These are the books that I've talked about. Outsource these services if you don't have capacity, and keep the books very well. Have a software, an accounting software that is working very well, and have proper documentation with you. That is the only way that you can win a tax audit. And Kra has graduated from looking at our returns, even looking at our margins, profit margin. So they will tell you your profit margins are very low compared to other companies in the same industry. So how do you counterattack that one? You have to take your documentation, you have to show your invoices, your purchases invoice. This is how I bought and this is how I sold and these are my margins. So you have to provide documentation on every process or anything that you're going to give them. So why is Kra always on my company? Why is Kra always on my company? Visibility. So most of the people ask me, why do I have to see an email every time? Why am I having a call from Kra? Do we have millions of companies in Kenya? Why are they always on my company? Visibility. Because your company is visible. The moment you hit 5 million turnovers in a year, then you're selling vertible goods, then you should have VAT as an obligation. The more profits, the more turnovers that you make, the more visible you are. And Kra has designed a way, the softwares are working very well to define that your business has graduated from small, medium entrepreneur to somewhere else. You're at a medium level, you're at a large level. That's why you find that a company will graduate from a station level to the medium taxpayer's office, to the large taxpayer's office, because your business is growing. So as long as your business is growing, then you're more visible. And the software is in place will make sure that they see you. So it means that your company is visible. It means that now you need to put your documents in order, and you need also to have a tax advisor with you. So every company should be audited within 5 years. I've talked about that one. Tax filing is self-assessment. You sat down, you did it, and you did it yourself. VAT obligation, this is also something that I need to highlight. Kra has been tough on VAT obligation. So if you have VAT as an obligation, then you need to do your you need to do your business very, very well. So do your business very, very well. Do your invoices well, because Kra is looking at your customers. They can be able to access your customers and see who you are selling to. They can see who you purchased from. They can see when you're using invalid invoices. So it is very important, if you have VAT as an obligation, it is very important to be extremely careful. So it is very important to be extremely careful. So we have also, you also need to have a competent tax advisor with you. Have a competent tax advisor with you during this journey, and also be optimistic. Be optimistic about the process. So I found most entrepreneurs that when we are having a Kra audit, we panic, we feel like we want to close down the business, you start generating new ideas of new businesses. Be optimistic about this process. Understand that at one particular point, you will undergo this process. So be optimistic, be open to undergo this process, have a tax advisor with you, and you will win the process. You will win this process. So tax triggers, audit triggers, I'll talk about some audit triggers. So non-filing and late filing of returns. So if you're not filed your return, or it is 30th June and you tell your auditor, oh, file a new return, then we do an amendment. That is an audit trigger. If you've been paid through IFMIS by the government, so if you're selling to the government, to the counties, to the parastatals, and you get payment through IFMIS, then that is an audit trigger. You need to declare full payment. And if there was a withholding certificate that you've not received, tell them that I've not received my certificate because I need to do declarations. Because at the end of the day, KRA will raise this data and they will raise demands on payment done under the IFMIS portal. Significant variation of that of amount declared in returns, that is pay as you earn, income tax, and VAT. So the monthly returns that we do every month, at the end of the day, they come together to form what we do at the end of the year. So at the end of the year, the audit report that you are filing, if you had VAT obligation, already you had your sales with you, you had your purchases with you. If you had the pay as you earn obligation, already you have the sales, the salaries expenses with you. So if these things are not merging together, then that raises an audit, is an audit trigger. So for instance, if you've done your VAT at the end of the year is 10 million, but the auditor declared 15 million, then already you have an audit trigger. So it is very important to sit down with your auditor and understand the whole report. That report is very important. It's what KRA is using to audit you. The return that is done every month is what KRA is using to audit your company. So the person doing those returns should be able to understand the tax element in the returns that they are doing. Continuous losses of a company. KRA has been very sensitive on losses, on low margins. So it is very important to declare the correct position of the company. So if you're always on a loss, KRA would want to see what kind of business are you doing. Industrial trends versus company profits. I've talked about profits. If you're in real estate, KRA will come to you and tell you you're giving us 5% profit margin, yet in this sector, we see 10% profit margin. So they are able to group sector and see in this sector this year, how much profit did they make? So if they determine that people made 10%, yet you made a loss or you made 2%, then that is an audit trigger. We have business restructuring. If you're merging a company, if you're closing down your company, if you want to drop some tax obligations, all these are audit triggers. So the moment you write a letter to them and tell them that I want to merge my company or I want to close down the company, the next point, they're going to send you an audit, a return review audit. They want to review your company. They want to audit your company. So VAT, customs, and excise refund claims. So if you're having claims and you want to be refunded, KRA refunds is actually have a department as Times Tower to refund taxes. So if you're doing export, for instance, they are 0 rated. So if you need those refunds, that is an audit trigger. So the moment you request for refunds, then the company should undergo an audit so that you can receive these refunds. That party information, so the moment somebody has your concrete information about your company, they have information that you've been under declaring, they can go to KRA and provide this documentation, and KRA can act on those, or they can act on that information. So we have media attention. So today, if you win an award, media sized, and you shouldn't be afraid of participating. It's an audit trigger also, but you can just, you can organize your company. The moment you're able to organize your company very well, you've looked at your documentation and everything, then media attention shouldn't be a problem. But the moment you go on media is also an audit trigger. Current and former employees giving information, if you have these people within the company and they give out information about your company, possibly there was a problem within your engagement, they can provide data to KRA and KRA can act on it. Intercompany transactions. So if you have multiple businesses, you have sister companies, you have one company doing manufacturing, another one doing distribution, another one doing PR, and all these companies are interrelated. The moment one company undergoes an audit, the other companies will also undergo the same audit. So these are some of the audit triggers within our companies that we should be aware of. The most important part is to be able to have proper documentation, safekeeping of these documents within 5 years, and having a tax advisor with you. Also being optimistic of the whole process is also very important. So I've talked about document required and also audit triggers. And we have also said that even if these audit triggers are not within us, you should undergo as a company an audit within 5 years. So what happens at that particular point, that yes, you have received this letter, it is a tax, and this letter can come in a form of a tax demand, where KRA has stated the amount that they are demanding. They have gone through the audit reports or the documents, the returns that you've been doing. They have seen errors. They have looked at your margins. They have looked at other things and they have done a demand. So they have given you possibly a 10 million demand, or they have written to you citing that they would want to audit you, and they have stated the documentation that they want you to provide them so that you can start the process. So first of all, you cannot tell them that I did not receive the email. Nowadays, the email must go through. You cannot tell them that I did not. So they'll send you an email, they'll send you a postal address letter, they'll call you. So they'll make sure that you have the information that you are undergoing an audit, and they have location. The software is integrated to a point that they can be able to get your exact location. So what should you understand? Understand the time frame given by KRA. So they have told you we need this document within 7 days or 14 days. So understand that process, and if you don't have that time, or you are undergoing a process, or it is your busy season, or you have something, you can tell them and request them and tell them, I received your letter, but I'm undergoing something and I need to an addition of more time, and you cite the time that you require. So it is allowed. You can request for more time. Engagement is very important. Do not sit on that letter. Do not block that call. It is going to make things worse, and it can even lead to an assessment. on your portal, on your iTax portal, because you did not respond positively. So respond, tell them I need more time to be able to perform or to give this documentation. Evaluate the information required by KRA. So which are these books that they need? Do we have these books within the company? So if you don't have this book, can you prepare them? Some of the books that they will require can be even prepared at that particular point. So look at the information required. Carry out a pre-audit compliance check. This is very important, and I see most of the entrepreneurs missing this point. So the moment you understand the documents required, do not take them to KRA without involving a tax advisor, without having this pre-audit compliance check. Let's look at the risk. What are the tax risks within your company? So they have said that you're supposed to pay them 10 million. Is it true? So is it true that you owe them this much money? So have that discussion with you. Look at the 5 years or the 2 years they are looking for, and look at all the issues. What are our risks? If we don't have this documentation, can we find it? Can we make it? Can we, if we have this invoice, they are requesting for invoices, yet some of these invoices we didn't request them from our suppliers. Can we ask for copies from our suppliers? So have this information within the company. Just discuss it before you have that, you present the documentation. Have an opening meeting with KRA team. It is very important. At this opening meeting, they will ask you when you formed the company, what you do, how many staff you have, all this information. They would want to understand the business or what kind of business that you do. You can also ask them, what information are they looking for? Why are they looking for? Why are they conducting that audit to you? Sometimes they will tell you we have third-party information, we are carrying out an investigation. They can even specify to you that this is our point of concern. Our point of concern is your sales. We have information that you're doing and a declaration of your sales. So you can have that open meeting, and it is very important. Assign a contact person to handle the KRA. If it is a finance person from your team, if you have a team of people, just assign somebody. It's very important. Resolve as many issues during the audit process as possible. This is very important. So at this particular point that you undergo this audit, make sure that you have your tax advisor, you had your team ready, and make sure that you're able to get to a consensus with the team, the KRA team that is doing this process. Because we are going to talk about tax resolution and tax dispute. It is a long process. It is cumbersome. Sometimes it is stressful. So if you can be able to handle this point and this process at this early stage and be able to agree at a process, you can agree on your taxes to pay. You can request a payment plan. It is very important for you because you'll be able to even close the case quickly. You'll be able to not to have stress. You'll be able to continue with your normal operations of the business. Ensure that you receive an official letter of findings from KRA. So if you undergo the process, make sure that you get the final letter telling you that we covered this period, so that next year, come next year or the other day, they will not cover the same period. Remember, KRA is structured in a way that they have different departments. So sometimes you may have compliance check department. There's a department doing VAT, others doing pay. There are different departments within KRA. And then we also have accounts managers. So these account managers keep changing. So these are people assigned to handle different businesses at KRA. So the accounts manager, this year you may be handled by somebody and you undergo through an audit. Then the next year somebody else is handling the same accounts. They repeat the same audit. So it is very important to get the official letter of findings, and so that you can show that you actually ended that process. Pay any taxes not in dispute. If you consider going the dispute way, we're going to talk about it. Pay the taxes that you feel. So they have assessed you 10 million. You feel that what you owe them is 2 million. You can do a payment plan on the 2 million and start payment as you start the process of audit, of resolution.